Tweed River. Our charts of the river are customised especially for the houseboats. The channel is clearly marked with a red line. There is no need for you to remember which side of the markers you should be. Simply follow the red line and this will show you exactly where you should be in relation to the red and green markers on the river. Pay close attention to the charts as you travel in order to anticipate any navigational hazards and avoid sandbanks and other obstacles. You start your houseboat holiday here at the Tweed Marina. After your safety briefing, one of our captains will pilot you out on your houseboat through the marine precinct, and then your designated driver will be placed in charge and learn how to drive. The first area you drive through is the Terranora Inlet between Yucaba and Greenbank Islands. This is our pickup area, and this is where we will expect you to be at the designated time on the day of your return. This is also one of the best spots on the river for swimming. Clear water on an incoming tide and sandy white beaches to enjoy. As this is such a great spot, there can be a number of vessels anchored here, so take care when manoeuvring. When heading out onto the main river, you cannot turn left. This is a high current flow area that heads straight out to sea. Not only is this extremely dangerous, it is an offence and water authorities are able to charge you for being in this area in a hire boat. Instead, you need to turn right and travel upriver. Head well across to the other side of the river before turning right. There is a large sandbank on the corner, so heading across river before turning will avoid this sandbank. When travelling on a river, the outside curve is generally the deeper area, where the water flow helps keep the channel clear, so this is where you need to be. For safety's sake, there is no anchoring at night between Rocky Point, where the golf club is, and this intersection. This is a long, straight stretch of river in the same direction as our predominant winds. If you drag anchor at night, you may not realise and could be taken down to the bar and out to sea by the current. If you would like to anchor near the wreck on the eastern side of Yucaba Island, you can sneak in behind the sandbank and anchor beside the island. Depending upon the weather, this is a great sheltered spot. You simply need to take care not to run aground on your way in. Once you pass the golf club at Rocky Point, there is a sandbank in the middle of the river. In order to navigate around this sandbank, once you go past the green marker, you need to turn sharply right to go around the red marker. The next navigational point is Barneys Point Bridge. When approaching the bridge, don't slow down. You are accustomed to the boat handling at your current speed, so just head straight on. The span through which you should travel is indicated by a large yellow sign above the span. Bays and dead-end areas are generally shallow, so steer clear of these areas, otherwise you will run aground. Once you pass under the bridge and head into Chinderah, you will notice a caravan park on the riverbank. Just past the caravan park, there is a boat ramp and park. On the other side of the road is a seafood shop offering both fresh and cooked seafood, a Chinese takeaway, and a maritime antique store if you'd like to head over to shore. Up here you will find the Chinderah Tavern, which is great for a counter meal, and the Cubby Bakehouse, which is very popular for breakfast. Simply anchor off and use the tender to head to shore or the floating pontoon, which is in front of the tavern. You are not permitted to dock the houseboat at any jetty or marina. No matter how experienced you are, the jetties and pontoons on the river are not designed for houseboats and you can easily damage the boat. Ensure when you're tying up at a pontoon that you put your tender on the inside, as you don't want a larger boat coming into dock and squashing your tender. The straight up past Stotts Island and Chinderah Islands is a good fishing area. There is a sandbank down the middle of the river, which is why you will see a row of green markers. Once you pass between the red and green markers at the start, stick to the southern side of the river. This is a good area to avoid southerly winds and the islands offer protection. Take care around the dredge, as there will be a hose with drum floats on the river surface. At the end of the strait, there is a deep hole where people are known to catch jewfish, particularly at night. When you pass around the corner at the end of the strait, stick close to the eastern side of the river. Don't go exploring in Tweed Broadwater, as this area is very shallow and you will run aground. As you head further upriver, again, stick to the outside curve of the river. As an orientation point, around here you will notice some large sheds and a boat ramp on the riverbank. This is a boat manufacturing and storage place, and as a point of interest, several houseboats in our fleet were built here. Heading towards Stotts Island, you need to ensure you follow the markers and go around the little island. This area here is wide, however it's shallow, so you will run aground if you go through there. As you're approaching, you cannot see the channel behind the island, but trust the markers and your charts and keep travelling through. Stotts Island is a nature reserve, so there is lots of bird life in the area, and this is a lovely protected spot to anchor. At the other side of Stotts Island, you need to travel between Rawson and Stotts Island, same as with Pelican Island. Approaching Tumbulgum, there is another bridge to traverse under. Again, don't slow down and travel under the marked span. Into the village of Tumbulgum itself, there is another tavern here which is great for a counter meal and very popular. There is also a cafe, the House of Gabrielle, which is lovely for lunch or breakfast. I believe they prepare pizzas on Friday nights as well. If you wish to stay in the village at night, please ensure you keep the noise down so as not to disturb the residents. Sound travels on water. Unless you're aboard the 3 largest vessels in our fleet, you can duck up the Rouse River. Stick to the outside curves, and when you're up in this area, Cemetery Bay, drop anchor in the middle of the channel. The bay itself is shallow. Pacific Blue, Ocean Spirit and Island Dream are limited to the start of the Rouse River due to their size. Please see the specific chart provided aboard your houseboat. If you are interested in exploring the Settlers Cemetery, use the tender to head ashore at this corner here, and about 300 metres to the left is the start to a short walk which heads up through the rainforest canopy where you can explore the historical cemetery. Heading out of Tumbulgum up towards Condong, again ensure you stick to the outside curve of the river where the deeper water is. Up through Condong you will see the sugar mill on the left and Cane Road Bridge in front. This is a low, narrow bridge. Terranora Inlet. Heading up the other way from the marina, this is the Terranora Broadwater reach of the river. Once you pass under Boyds Bay Bridge, you will see a park, boat ramp and floating pontoon on the right. There is a great seafood shop, Scales, on the other side of the road here. They offer both fresh and cooked seafood. This area before the bypass bridge is nice to escape southerly wind. Even though it's near the highway, it is quite quiet in this area. And this is a nice area to explore behind the mangrove islands in the tender or on the kayaks. Underneath the bypass bridge, there is another boat ramp and jetty. There is a general store, cafe and bottle shop located here. You can take the tender in and just walk across the road. Stick to the southern side of the river. Over the other side is shallow and there is a sandbank down the middle of the river. Up around Davies Island, there's a nice little sandy beach on this corner and the water is lovely and clear on an incoming tide. We don't recommend travelling any further than this, particularly in the larger houseboats, as this area has shallowed up considerably. When the time comes to head back down out of this area, pay particular attention to this bridge. You must be travelling against the current. You need to wait for an incoming tide. This bridge was built crooked to the flow of the river, and if you're travelling with the current in a houseboat, you can be speared straight into the pylons. You may travel up at any time, but must be travelling against the current on the way back. Any concerns at all, please call the on-call number and whoever's on call will assist you. If you're aboard Pacific Blue, Ocean Spirit or Island Dream, check with our team prior to heading up this reach of the river.